Okay, Gurudev. Okay, gonna do chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita's Essentials version by Paramahamsa Sri Swami Vishwananda. Chapter 9 of the Gita should be a good one. Double check that audio is coming through. Let me just double check that. Bum. Cool. Looks good. Okay, cool. Great. Start with a brief invocation. Om Agnanya Tamidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Alright, chapter 9, let's do it. Chapter 9, Raja Vidya Guhya Yoga, the secret of devotion. Taking up many of the themes in chapter 7, Krishna now explores the way of bhakti in more depth. This, he states, is the highest knowledge and the greatest secret. Once again, we learn how the Lord supports and controls the material world, but at the same time is both transcendent and detached from the process. Those great souls who understand this truth engage in acts of devotional worship. Krishna then reiterates his eminence in the world. He himself is the various aspects of the yajna, the sound of Om, the Vedas, and the very goal of life. Those who fail to perceive this carry out the Vedic ritual and attempt to enjoy heavenly delights. But once their merit, their punya, is exhausted, they are forced back into this world. They cannot see that it is Krishna who is ultimately the enjoyer of all sacrifices, and he alone provides prosperity and security. Depending on where we focus our minds, family, spirits, gods, or Krishna, our destination after death will be decided. The closing verses describe the power of bhakti. Krishna states that the simplest of offerings done with love will be accepted by him, and so he urges Arjuna to make everything in life an offering to him. Although Krishna is equal to all, the devotees are the ones who dwell in the heart of Krishna, and he in theirs. He declares that even if one is the worst sinner, bhakti to the Lord will transform that person onto the righteous path. Finally, Arjuna is told to fix his mind upon Krishna, to bow down to him and worship him. If this is done, he is guaranteed to come to the Lord. Verses 1 through 3. Knowledge of bhakti is the highest. Lord Krishna says, Arjuna, because you are without envy, I shall reveal to you the most secret of all knowledge, along with the process of its immediate realization, knowing which you shall be free from the miseries of life. This is the King of wisdom, the King of mysteries, and the purest of knowledge. It grants direct experience of the truth. It is based on dharma. It is easy to practice and is unfading. Those who have no faith in this path, O Arjuna, remain in this cycle of birth and death without ever attaining me. People who are attached to earthly existence, who are attached to the objects of the senses, whose senses and mind revolve around vices, due to their ignorance, are not worthy to receive the word of God. In the Bible, Christ says that we should not cast pearls to pigs. The pigs will trample over them, not knowing their value. Krishna says that this deep knowledge is to be given only to the bhaktas and should not be given to people who are not ready, because they do not know what to do with it. They will not even understand it. By chanting the Lord's name and letting your mind be focused on him, you will get rid of all the vices and evil ways. It will cleanse you of your past karmas and release you from endless suffering. When you are rid of all endless suffering, the Atma reveals itself. Even when the Atma reveals itself, that's not everything. You have to attain the supreme bliss. You have to attain the supreme peace. You have to even attain God realization. God realization here means when the divine reveals himself. When you realize yourself, you have paved the way toward the divine qualities. This is where all the divine qualities start reflecting through you. You become calm. You become radiant. You become very peaceful. You become non-judgmental. Only then can you do service to society. Only then can you go around and serve freely. The right hand gives and the left hand does not know about it. So you become automatically a great aid for this world. Divine virtue starts flowing through you and the way you perceive the world changes. Krishna says, "What I am asking of you is not difficult. To surrender your mind to my feet, to think of me, place your mind upon my image, my form. Nothing can destroy that. Once you build a connection to me, once you build a relationship to me, once you attain that love, there is no going back, and it is imperishable, because nothing can destroy it. That knowledge of the self is a secret that has been kept always, and it was given only through initiation, and only when one was ready. But in reality, it's very simple and very easy. Even if it sounds very difficult, it is the easiest thing to do. The soul incarnates in 8.4 million species before attaining a human body. Only through the grace of God, through spiritual advancement, can a soul attain a human body. The one who surrenders to the divine within themselves realizes how rare it is to get this human existence. When they realize how important this human existence is, they hold on tight to their spiritual path, their meditation, and their Atma Kriya Yoga practice. If they lack faith in the teachings of the Lord, if they are reading or listening to the Gita without faith, they will find it difficult to attain this love, to surrender, and to realize God. Those who find it difficult to realize God, first within the core of themselves, and then everywhere, come back again and again to advance towards unity with the Supreme Divine Being. Without faith, it is impossible to center the mind. Without faith, it is impossible to love. Without faith, it is not easy to chant. But with faith, it becomes easy. Verses 4 through 10. Krishna's relationship to the world. This entire universe is pervaded by me, in my unmanifest form. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. And yet these beings are not in me, such is my divine mystery. I am the upholder of all beings, and yet I am not in them. It is my will alone that causes their existence. As the mighty wind moves everywhere but always remains in space, in the same way you should understand how all beings rest in me. All beings, Arjuna, are withdrawn into my Prakriti at the end of a cycle of time, and at the beginning of a new cycle I send them forth again. Using this Prakriti of mine, I repeatedly send forth this multitude of beings. They are helpless, being under the control of Prakriti. But these actions do not bind me, O Arjuna, for I am detached from them, remaining always indifferent. It is because of me alone that this Prakriti produces all the moving and non-moving beings. It works under my direction, hence why the world exists as it does. He says, all existences are situated in me, but I am not in them. The material, the tangible things exist inside of Krishna, but Krishna, as the Supreme Lord, is beyond this material existence, and he stays always unconnected. He remains intact, even at the same time of pralaya, when the whole creation is dissolved. Imagine a cloud in the sky. The sky is completely covered by the clouds, but does this affect the sky? No, it doesn't. When the clouds are dispersed, you see that the sky is still there, and that the sky was always there. It is not touched by the clouds at all. In the same way, God is ever existing. He doesn't cease to exist even if the whole world disappears, because he existed even before creation. So he is never touched by anything, even if the world disappears. Even right now, while we are talking, there are universes appearing and disappearing. But the glory of the Lord shines everywhere. There is no place where he is not shining. However, nothing material touches him. The ego, the pride, the big I, are just like clouds in the sky, and when they appear, and when they disappear, only the sky stays. In the same way, the Bhakta realizes that beyond this I, there is only one that ever exists, God. One attains the state where the world stops existing, and what exists is only God. In his nirguna aspect, God is like the ether, uniform, formless, actionless, infinite, unattached and immutable, immune to all changes. Like the wind, like air, all beings spring from God, abide in God, and naturally come back into God. However, God also has a saguna aspect. That's why he can conceive the whole creation. Without this, how would he be? He would be complete emptiness. First, one has to see that all is present in his cosmic form, and that it is the supreme being. However, he is also the formless, actionless, infinite, unattached. He is beyond everything, yet he pervades everything and infuses energy into everything. When we refer to a small hole, saying that it is empty, in reality it's not empty. Air pervades it. There is air in the hole. In the same way, you can make an empty bottle and say that the bottle is empty, yet it's not fully empty because there is air inside. When one resides in awareness, one perceives that every atom, every particle, is pervaded by Bhagavan in his formless state. However, all this drama of countless universes, countless worlds, which are appearing and disappearing, are in his cosmic form, in his saguna form. Beyond that, there is nothing else. And when one reaches that state of realization and perceives that he is the one who gives the power to the atom, one will see that divine reality, and that is God's consciousness. The one who wants to see only the atom will perceive only the atom, and not the power which is behind the atom, giving it the energy to act and manifest. At the end of the dissolution period, another creation manifests. The whole world dissolves into him, and afterwards a new world arises from him. The dissolution period also enables the Atma, the individual soul, to move to a higher level of realization. Pralaya is very long in human years. In this reality, Pralaya takes trillions of human years. But in the celestial reality, Pralayas can happen every day. After Pralaya, the soul comes back to this reality, to this world. As I said before, to advance to God consciousness, one has to be born in this world here, in this reality. That's why all the avatars come to remind people how important it is to realize God in one's life. And this chance is not given in every life, due to the surroundings, the environment, the association, whether it's low or high association. If it's a high association, it's fine. If it's a low association, finish. Nevertheless, one takes hundreds of millions of years or hundreds of millions of incarnations. In the end, one will return to where one has come from, to him. It is him only. If people have not reached this state of realization in their lives, due to attachment to the gunas and karma created, they are born again and again. They are under the control of Maya. They are so attached to the body and to the outside world that it becomes very difficult for them to let go. They don't perceive the cosmic nature of the Lord within their own individual nature. They become blind. They can't perceive that it is the Supreme Lord who is the core of the individual. Here I'm not referring to the individual self or to the ego self, but to the Supreme Self, Narayanaya, who is seated deep in the core of one's heart, in the core of one's self. Bhagavan Krishna says that he is the controller, the supervisor of this creation. He is the supervisor behind Prakriti. All existences and activities of Prakriti derive from him, but it is his Prakriti which carries on all such activities as the creation of the universe. Here you can take the example of a farmer. As the supervisor, a farmer plants the seeds in the earth, and then the earth carries on. Even if the farmer has put the seeds in the earth brings forth a variety of plants according to the kinds of seeds which the farmer has planted. Like that, God, Narayana, implants the seed of life in Prakriti, and as the supervisor, he then supervises everything. So Prakriti evolves. He plants the seeds of creation inside her, And then Prakriti makes the entire creation evolve into all the beings and species come into existence, into manifestation. Mother Nature carries on doing what she has to do, and the farmer is not attached. The farmer doesn't go around saying, grow, grow, grow. No, he puts the seed in the earth, but then Mother Nature takes her course by herself. The Lord says that by his will he brought forth the creation, and then everything was carried on by nature. It is the same thing when a child is born. You may want to have a child, but if the Supreme Lord himself does not will it, it will not happen. One can say there is a tube which is blocked on this side, or there is no strength in the man, and so on. Science can say many things, but when the divine wills something, it can happen. And then even science gets completely baffled. He can bend his own nature and make things happen that are beyond the limitations of the mind of man to understand. Verses 11 through 15, recognizing and worshiping the Lord. Fools disregard me, appearing in a human form, not knowing my divine nature as the Supreme Lord of all beings. The hopes, the actions, and the knowledge of these foolish people are in vain. Being utterly deluded, they take on the nature of asuras and rakshasas. But the great souls, O Arjuna, are my divine nature, share my divine nature. They adore me with a single mind, knowing me to be the unchanging source of all beings. Constantly glorifying me, taking up vows and bowing down before me in devotion, they always engage in acts of worship. There are also others who make offerings in the sacrifice of knowledge. They worship me as the one being that has manifested in a variety of forms, with faces in different directions. Wise indeed are those who recognize who is in front of them. Those who are detached, those who are free, those whose minds are focused, will see the divine. But those who are attached and blind, even if the Supreme Lord himself is in front of them, like the Kauravas, they will not see who he is. Out of compassion for all embodied souls, in order to place them under his protection, with a view to establish righteousness, to redeem his devotees, his people, the Supreme Lord manifests himself. He takes various forms and performs various leelas in this world to remind mankind of his divinity, to remind mankind of the importance of surrendering to God. Not my will be done, thy will be done. Krishna reveals to Arjuna that he is the Supreme Lord who has manifested himself in various incarnations, like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, Vamana, Parasurama, Rama, and so on. And it is him now, the Supreme Lord, the same Lord, the same fullness. It is the Supreme Lord fully present in the Vasudeva Krishna. Bhagavan says that the great souls adore him with a single pointed mind. Even if they have realized God, even if they see him inside themselves and know that everything is him, they never stop adoring him. These realized souls have exclusive love for God. Their mind doesn't feel attracted toward anything other than God. They perceive God within themselves and everywhere, but they don't stop praising and singing the glory of God. These realized souls are never separated from God. As bhaktas have this unbearable yearning for him, the Lord himself also longs for the bhaktas in the same way. The bhaktas perceive as the bhaktas perceive the Lord inside themselves, the Lord also perceives the bhaktas inside him. It is this relationship, the connection, that a realized soul has with the Lord. Slowly, the Lord is revealing to Arjuna the essence of bhakti. The ones who hear the glory of the Lord with a steadfast mind, the ones whose hearts choke and have tears roll down from their eyes hearing of the divinity of the Lord, are fit for God realization. These devotees who have such longing for the Lord are fit for God realization, because they love God for the sake of loving him. They don't love God just to make a bargain with him. They love him because they love him. That's just love. The Lord praises these bhaktas, and he himself rejoices in the form of a bhakta. There may be terrible calamities, the wind can be blowing left and right, a big tsunami can happen, but it doesn't in the slightest affect a true bhakta. They are not shaken in their resolution or determination. When the bhaktas have this firm resolve, have taken a path and surrendered, nothing which happens in the outside world can shake them. It doesn't matter how much they are criticized or what others say, nothing can move them. Such bhaktas attain the supreme reality. They are fit for God realization, but the flickering ones, God discharges them for their next lives. Verses 16 through 19, the eminence of Krishna into the world. I am the ritual, I am the sacrifice, I am the offerings made to the ancestors. I am the herbs, I am the mantra, I alone am the clarified butter. I am the fire, I am the offering itself. I am the father, mother, support, and grandfather of this universe. I am the object of knowledge. I am the purifier. I am the syllable Om, and also the Rig Veda, Samaveda, and Yajur Veda. I am the goal, the supporter, the Lord, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the friend of the universe. I am the creation, destruction, and the basis of everything. I am that which is preserved and the eternal seed. O Arjuna, I am the one who gives heat. I send forth and hold back the rains. I am immortality as well as death. I am the manifest and the unmanifest. Lord Krishna is explaining to Arjuna about his omnipresence, about how he is in everything. He is gradually guiding Arjuna to perceive that supreme reality. People may say, okay, God is everywhere. However, this doesn't mean that they will really perceive that God is everywhere. The Lord is taking Arjuna beyond that point to reveal the truth to him through bhakti. When bhakti awakens, the jnana is transformed. He not only perceives the formless in everything, but he realizes that it's only the Lord who pervades everything, and that everything is just his emanation. He says, I am the sacred Om. I am the pranava. I am this life force that sustains everything. Krishna is not only talking about the sound itself. Sound is a vibration, and everything in this world is caused by vibration. The whole universe, everything is created due to that vibration. He says, I am the cause of that vibration. I am the Omkara. I am this sound that vibrates in the whole universe and brings everything into being. I am that vibration itself, and whoever through sadhana realizes and hears this cosmic sound attains God realization. Through this sound I purify everything. When one is doing Om chanting, the Om vibrates, it purifies. Everything, all beings emanate from him alone, and he is the eternal resting place, so everything goes back to him. Everything comes out of God, and everything goes back to God, and everything is happening inside of him, through his yoga maya. He is the ultimate truth. He is the one who takes people from darkness of ignorance and brings them to the light. He takes people from untruth to truth. He is the one who leads each person to realize the Atma, realizing them, releasing them from the cycle of birth and death. Rituals may change, names may change, everything around may change, but the Lord, the essence that is behind everything, is only him. And those who have the eyes to see, those who have the eyes of truth, and who have the eyes of wisdom, they will perceive the same Lord that they worship everywhere. Everything becomes an offering. Everything is a prayer, because the glories of the Lord are endless and have no limitation. His mercy doesn't have any limitation. His wisdom doesn't have any limitation. His creation is endless. Verses 20 to 25, the fate of those who worship the lesser gods. Those who are versed in the three Vedas, being purified from sin by drinking the soma juice, pray for heaven and worship me with sacrifices. After reaching that place where the king of the demigods resides, they enjoy celestial pleasures. Having enjoyed this vast realm of heaven, once their merit is exhausted, they return to the world of mortals. As a result, those who follow the Vedic rituals and are motivated by desire go to heaven temporarily before coming back. But then there are those who adore me alone with undeviating concentration. For those who yearn for me in this way, I myself take refuge of their prosperity and welfare. Understand, Arjuna, that even those who worship other demigods with faith actually worship me alone, but in an improper way. For I alone am the enjoyer of the Lord of all for I alone am the enjoyer and the Lord of all sacrifices. But such people do not recognize me in my true nature. Hence they fall from the positions they attain. Those who worship the demigods go to the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors will go to the ancestors. Those who worship the spirits will reach them, but my devotees will come to me. Here Bhagavan Krishna says that people who don't realize the truth about the self and God, but who surrender to the demigods, attain the fruit of transitory pleasures in the celestial lokas of the demigods, according to what they did in their lives. However, their good punya is transitory. It is not permanent. Due to that punya, they go, for instance, to Indralok and get entertained a little bit by Indra and company. But later, when their punya is finished, when their bank account is empty, Indra will say, "My dear, now you have used up all your money. You don't have anything else to bet with. You have to leave this casino." Then they have to come back and be born again here on earth to work towards realization. If they fail to realize God, if they don't have the chance to surrender to the feet of the Guru so that they can be freed in this life, they will return many, 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 many more times and keep repeating the same things. Only the ones who surrender attain God realization. The ones who surrender to the feet of the Master are fortunate. The Master will carry them across the ocean of samsara, lead them out of this delusion of birth and death, and make them realized. People often work with the lower frequencies of nature as they don't have the knowledge of the higher self. They start doing lots of shamanic rituals without knowing the true knowledge of the self, and this leads them to an inferior state. They are never free. Then they are never free. Then they are stuck in that reality. They take birth as those animals because their minds are so focused on them. God has placed men on earth to advance towards Him and not to please the demigods or the entities of nature that have a low vibration. There was a time when all of you incarnated as animals, but that reality was finished a long time ago. When you grow up, you let go of your childhood, so you don't keep acting like a small child, do you? Due to the faith that those ones have in the demigods or the entities of nature, the merciful Lord Krishna says, "Know that they are worshipping me alone. I am the sole object of all worship." Even if they end up going to the lokas of those demigods or incarnate into a lower state, God will give them opportunities to rise higher towards God realization. To have the grace of being on the spiritual path in order to attain the supreme reality is very rare. Verse 26, Krishna only wants the love of the devotee. Whoever offers to me with devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or some water, I accept this offering made with devotion by one who is pure of heart. This is one of the most beautiful verses in the Gita, which shows the humility of the Lord. How beautiful is this? In Hindu prayers, we always offer flowers, leaves, fruits, and water. These things are easily obtained by everybody. The Lord is not asking for big things. Actually, He doesn't ask for anything. It's not about His expectation. He is referring to bhakti, Whatever people are offering to me, whatever desire, whatever they have inside their hearts, the most simple things, the offering of love itself, the sacrifice of love itself is what the Lord takes, and that is what he accepts. It's not about the flower. The flower is here and then finished, soon it disappears. The water and the fruits are offered in front of him, and then after that we take the offerings as prasad. But in reality, what the Lord accepts is the love that is in the heart of the devotee. It's not through knowledge that one conquers the Lord, but through simplicity, through the simplest things done with devotion. If one offers a leaf, a flower, a few drops of water with gratitude, with a mind focused on the divine, on the Lord himself, he accepts that offering of love. That intensity of faith and worship, that intensity of love and surrender that you have, comes from the individual's soul. God can't make you love him. You love him as an act of surrender and offering. You choose to love him. He can't make that for you. That's why he longs for your love. That's why when one is fully absorbed in devotion, that love becomes so intensified in oneself that it brings you to the Lord. This intensity of your worship is something that emerges from deep within you, out. This inclination, this power, this truthfulness which emerges from your soul, that's what Bhagavan longs for. He doesn't need anything. He has everything. The whole universe, the entire creation is his. There are so many people who go to temples and do so many offerings, and so many people who go around doing so much service, but they are full of pride. These offerings don't even reach his shadow, because that intention is devoid of love. It is devoid of surrender. What Bhagavan accepts from the heart of the devotee is this love and surrender. You think that you are surrendering, but actually he is. By the action of surrendering to him, he runs and surrenders to you. Verses 27 through 33, the power of bhakti. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer in sacrifice, whatever you give away, whatever austerity you practice, O Arjuna, do it as an offering to me. With a steadfast mind, engage in this yoga. You will be free. You will free yourself from good and bad results, which are the bonds of karma. As a result, you will be liberated, and you will come to me. I am the same to all beings. There is no one hated by me, nor is there anyone I am partial to. But those who worship me with devotion live in me, and I in them. If even the most sinful person worships me exclusively, with devotion, he must be regarded as a saint, for he has rightly resolved. Quickly, such a person becomes righteous and obtains everlasting peace. O Arjuna, let it be declared that my devotee never perishes. By surrendering to me, whatever their birth, race, sex, or caste, even those whom society scorns, will attain the supreme state. How much more, then, the brahmanas and royal sages who are pure and devoted to me? Therefore, having come into this temporary world of suffering, you should worship me. Krishna says that whatever you are doing in life, breathing, doing your sadhana, spiritual practice, eating, drinking, sitting, or listening, make it an act of offering. Make it an act of surrendering to the Lord. Make it a prayer to the Lord, and offer the prayer to him. Offer all the merit of whatever you do to him. You will attain him, and he, who is not attainable by any yogi, will give himself to you. When all good actions are offered and dedicated to the Lord, automatically the result is God realization. But if one does a practice to gain a certain result, this will create karma, which will lead one to be born again. Like that, one will be thrown into the bondage and attachment to this world. One will have to come back again and again. And when one comes back again, bear in mind that you won't know how that life will be. In this life, one may have attained the grace to be on the spiritual path and to associate with people who have a similar aim and goal. So that makes it easy. But one can't know about the next life. Here Bhagavan says, do everything as an act of surrender to me, with your soul in union with the divine through renunciation. Don't be attached to anything. Your mind should only be focusing on the Lord within yourself. The heart of a devotee is not sustained by anything apart from divine love. Through that love, you will become free and attain me. At night, before sleeping, close your eyes, think of Narayana Krishna, and say, Lord, I offer you my whole day. I place whatever I have done, good or not good, upon your altar. I surrender every action to you. The Lord himself will grant you what is needed and will release you from the grip of Maya. God doesn't hate anybody. God loves everyone. But hate and love is the choice of men, and they don't go together. Either you love or you don't. Here Bhagavan is equal in all of that. He is like the sun who doesn't look on whom it is shining. He is like the rain which falls on everybody equally, on the bad, in the good. He is the tree which gives shelter to everybody. There are so many saints who were sinners, but through the grace of the Lord, through the association of the right people, they were transformed and changed. Bhagavan says that no matter how big the sins are, if the sinner surrenders to him with love and devotion, if they focus their minds upon him and make him their sole refuge, they will become saints. St. Paul is an example. Valmiki is another example. Mary of Egypt is another example. And like them, there are so many others. When one tries to surrender to him with devotion, all one's evilness, all one's negativity will be overcome. He says, don't hang on to this negativity. Don't focus on it. Your aim is to focus on God, not the negativity. It's of no use beating yourself with a whip and saying, I'm a sinner, I'm a sinner, I'm a sinner. No. Perceive it, but cross over it. Go beyond it. Your mind should focus on God, not on your sin. If you are concentrating on your sin, then you become sinful. Then you accumulate more sin. But if you concentrate and focus on the Lord himself, then you are free. Verse 34, devotion takes us to the goal. Focus your mind on me, be devoted to me, offer worship to me, bow down to me. Engaging your mind in this way, holding me as the supreme goal, you will surely come to me. Here he says to Arjuna, focus your mind on me, be devoted to me, offer worship to me. Can you see the power that is behind this? Krishna is not saying this superficially. No, here is God himself talking to Arjuna with all power. There is no pride in it. He says, here I am, the Supreme Lord himself. I am God himself. I am the God of which speak the Vedas. It is I who am here talking to you, and I am telling you how to surrender to me. Focus your mind on me. Be devoted to me. Awake. Let your heart dwell on me. Offer worship to me. Serve me in your worship, in your charity, in your daily chores. Do it as a form of worship. Bow down to me. Be humble. Engage your mind in this manner, and regarding me as the supreme goal, you will come to me. If the mind and the heart are focused on the Lord, and everything one does is done with this attitude of surrender to the Lord, there is no doubt that one will reach him. Chapter 9, verses, key terms. Prakriti. Substance from which all material creation manifests. It forms part of Krishna's nature and is therefore under his control. Asuras. Beings created by Brahma, who are perpetually at war with their cousins, the Devas, demigods. Asuras are typically associated with negative attributes. Although there are exceptions, they are generally self-centered and refuse to surrender to the Lord. The Devas, on the other hand, are generally associated with positive qualities and understand their position in relation to the Lord. Rakshasas a race of beings who are generally well known for their aggressive and bloodthirsty nature. Soma juice, a powerful plant extract that formed a central part of the Vedic ritual sacrifice. Heaven. In the context of this verse, heaven is not the supreme abode of the Lord, but is considered to be the material realm of the demigods where one can temporarily enjoy celestial pleasures. King of the demigods, also known as Indra, the leader of the Devas, demigods, and the ruler of the heavens. Chapter 9, Commentary Key Terms. Pralaya, the periodic dissolution of the material world in which creation is withdrawn into the body of God. Leela, when the Lord takes on limitation to uplift and interact with his devotees. Samsara, karmic cycle of repeated birth and death. All right, that's it for chapter 9. Thanks for tuning in. Jacob did.